Well, a very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. It's my pleasure to have you on board on Kenya's most comprehensive political and public governance analysis show. My name is Evan Sokinyi, and I'm here with my resident guest, Wakili Willis Otieno. Wakili, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes.
Now, people are actually been watching, and I think I watched your show with Prof alongside several Kenyans who watched that specific debate, and for sure they're saying that you guys are the good deal this time round.
Jimmy is the man. It is the people who have spoken.
Okay.
The voice of the people is the voice of God. And this time the problem is the economy, and the person with an answer to that economic problem, who has defined the problem and preferred a solution, is Jimmy Wanjigi. Okay. It's the economy, stupid.
You people, it's like you are trying to bring in something that has not been there in the past. Do you actually think that you can change the electoral dynamics of this particular country at this particular time?
It has changed. It has changed. Even look at how you conduct our politics today.
Make me understand, how has the politics changed?
The politics has changed in this way. Kenyans have become now more woke. Okay. The level of awareness in this country is far much better than it was 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. Kenyans are more critical, Kenyans are very observant, and if you want to confirm this position, look at the revolution we are going through. This revolution is not led by any political leader. Okay. This is a revolution that is led by the Kenyan people. They are partyless, they are leaderless, and they are tribeless. And in their numbers, across the entire country, you see them come out in huge numbers to advocate for good governance, to advocate for a better economy. And if you look at the kind of mobilization that the Kenyan people have had on the 18th of June and the 25th of June, those numbers are insurmountable. There is no political leader in this country, in the history of the earth, that has ever convened those kind of numbers in Nairobi, in other parts of the country, coming out to agitate for an economy that works for the people of Kenya. Now, you cannot say that there's one single politician or individual who was responsible for those numbers, or who for those people are looking up to give them the cue on when to demonstrate, when to agitate. Those numbers were able to breach parliament. They actually breached parliament, and they impeached parliament. The speaker of the Kenyan parliament today is that young man who stood up to say, "Mr. Speaker, sir, I am here to address you." It's not rectangular. Now, when people are able to self-mobilize and to agitate, even in the face of police brutality, killings, forced disappearances, abductions, it tells you that the same people will never go back to what was used to rule them, because they have rose up against the oppressive system that at the present day is superintended by William Ruto and his failed Kenya Kwanza regime. So also when it comes to voting, don't think the politicians will take Kenyans back to the norm, how they used to mobilize them, how they used to organize them to vote along tribal lines. Kenyans are going to only vote for a leader who understands their problem and gives them tangible promises, not fake promises of William Ruto. A tangible promise that gives power in the hands of the people. That is where the Kenyan people will be. And as it is now, Jimmy Wanjigi has given that promise. He has told you the problem is debt. And I believe we must now stand up and say we are not paying what was illegally taken. Any debt that is odious, we must drop it. And if you remove the burden of debt off the back of Kenyans, they will get instant relief. Because now the appetite to increase tax, charges and levies will not be there. And you are going to allow people to have disposable income in their pockets that they can spend in production. Okay. And when they spend in that economy, even those industries that produce the items that the people now with the disposable income are able to consume, they'll have to ramp their production, hire more people, increase their production capacities. And even government will be able to collect more revenue in terms of tax, direct tax and indirect tax through consumable tax.
In a country where even the most woke, or rather people who may be perceived to have attained the highest standards of education, talk of professors, we've seen these people rally behind the tribal kingpin, so to say. What makes you think that this particular time things are going to change, and that for the first time we are going to have an issue-based kind of discussion with Kenyans?
You know, the end of tribal kingpins is here. If you look at Kenya, since we started our politics, multi-party democracy, look at, for example, how Raila organized his politics. Okay. You'll always find a Mgogo for every tribe. In his Pentagon, he has a Mudavadi here, he has a Ruto here, he has a Nyaga here, a Balala here. That was Raila's template. Okay. That let the regions come up with their leader, and then we go into a national contest. But Raila is leaving. He's going to AU. He has publicly said, now taking a back seat from active politics in Kenya, I'm focusing on the continent. So he is the one who, I can say, will have been the face of regional kingpins. He's gone. Okay. So it's a new beginning. And it is important that Kenyans understand this, especially those who sit in political analysis tables. Understand this. Don't apply the templates of last elections to this coming one. Because even with all those regional kingpins that William Ruto had in trying to ape the template that Raila had developed, he had Mudavadi for Western, Gachagua for Central, Kingi for Coast, Mutua for Eastern, Osoro for Kisii. What happened? Kenyans rejected all of them on the 25th of June. Kenyans came out in their numbers. They were cancelled. Nobody listened to anybody who was perceived to be a tribal kingpin. Where is Ichungwa today? Do you hear them talk? Because nobody is paying attention to those regional. You're not going to put us in regional cocoons. Because our issue as a people is national. It is not unique to a particular tribe. When the cost of living is high, there is no special shop for people from the William Ruto's community. Okay. That they go and buy goods at subsidized cost. No. We all face the failed economy. That is why you saw the kind of agitation that we are having today in this country. When Kenyans are having spaces, X spaces, you are seeing participation of up to 3 million Kenyans on space. Those are bigger than any political rally that has ever been held in this country. Okay. At the best of its times, Uhuru Park will not even hold over 100,000 people. But you're seeing an X space of 3 million Kenyans tuned in, actively listening. I mean, that should tell you something. Okay. That the level of awareness has improved, and the people have become self-conscious to the question of governance. They've realized that this thing of mtuetu politics is not helping.
So you see that that issue of our person kind of stuff is not going to work?
It will not. It will not. You saw one day, for example, when you went home over the weekend, the other weekend, even with Paranya last weekend, with William Ruto in Mabole. You didn't see an overpouring support from the Mulembe nation saying now we are a cabinet secretary. Kenyans are saying that is for you and your family. We don't care about you becoming a cabinet secretary. So the only thing we care about is an economy that works for all of us. So are you even seeing any energy, any outburst of excitement in the Western nation, the Western Mulembe nation, because of Paranya has been read as yes? They don't care about that. They don't help them. Because all they care about is an economy that works for them. That I don't need to look to an individual for me to be able to self-actualize or to live a life of dignity. So that template is gone. Okay. The new template is about the issue. And the problem of the next election has been defined. It is the economy. What is your promise as a leader to change the economic outlook of this nation? The person with an answer is the person the Kenyan people will vote for. If you come and start telling us about mtuetu, we're talking about the usual political rhetorics, Kenyans will not pay attention to you. And you cannot also give fake promises. Your promises must be promises that are tangible. Okay. People can debate and see that it can actually work. Not the same Ruto lies of Njatenga and Metengeneza. Even Ruto now is going to be shy from going out. Look at Kebaso. One individual has taken away William Ruto's mouth in terms of launching projects. When Ruto speaks and says, I'm going to launch, no one even pays attention to him. When he tries to do that nonsense, people tell him, no, we will not listen to you. That is the new Kenya. It is hard to believe if you are used to the old Kenya, but it is right here with us. It's a new world order.
Okay.
And Kenya is now a new Kenya. The new Kenya, which will be about issue, mwananchi first, and a promise of dignity, and an administration that actualizes that promise of dignity to the individual, not to the political class. That is what Jimmy Wanjigi is about.
Okay. Now, somebody would argue that even in 2022, when we had the last general elections, the issue of the economy was actually at the central part of it. Why is it that you're saying that this time round things will be different? What then is the difference when it comes to now focusing on finding solutions towards the economic problem that we are in, and how that will actually inform the elections in 2027?
You see, in 2022, the economic problem was defined as hustler versus dynasty. That was the defined problem, hustler versus dynasty.
But what was it about
So
hustler stuff? Because
yes, the point is, it was defined to be about hustler and dynasty.
Okay.
It was not defined about a government delivering to the people. It was said your economic problem is the dynasties. So vote against the dynasty and you'll get it.
So what about the
It was a
bottom
con.
up? But the bottom up
Yes,
economic
it was a
model
con.
that was
People were
brought.
conned that it's going to be hustler versus dynasty. You remove the dynasties automatically.
Okay.
So they've gone through that. You can't use the same template because the people that were lied to, it also helped to open their eyes. They are now able to see that our problem is not a promise. When you point a problem as an individual or a particular group, our problem is an economy that works for me. Don't tell me that the dynasty is the problem. Tell me what you are going to promise me. Are you able to live on this? What is your economic promise to us? That's why I say the problem now is the economy. And any promise should be a promise that delivers tangible and delivers dignity to the individual. So Kenyans are now about issues. They went out to vote against the finance bill. They rejected it. Kenyans have litigated so many things that are going to cause them economic pain in this country. So the conversation is not about Mtuetu. It's not about an individual being a problem. The conversation is about a government that makes meaning to all Kenyans. But the only point when we mention an individual is William Ruto must go. Because he must go. He is superintending over a failed economic promise. He cannot continue. Because where people are today, people are at the space of an economic nation that makes meaning to them. So you must remove the person who is superintending over your operation and bring in somebody who is able to release your economic potential as a nation. And what is it that is hanging the people of Kenya? What is choking us? Number one is debt. Jimmy has told you what the problem is. It's debt finance. 80% of your revenue goes to debt finance. If you are able to reduce that debt yoke, that chain of debt off your necks, then you get instant relief. If you are able to remove government from domestic borrowing, you release a potential, huge potential capital. Because banks are holding over almost 4 trillion in cash. They have lent to Kenya government 5.4 trillion domestic banks. You imagine if that 5.4 trillion or even just 2 trillion of it could be released to the market to be lent by the private sector, the individual, you and I, at low interest rates, what can't we do? You are going to see an economic boom in this country that you cannot believe. Just by removing government from domestic market, borrowing from the domestic market. It changes the dynamics of the nation. It allows people access to credit at a low interest rate. And the private sector, the individuals, will start building, producing more. Government will collect more in terms of tax. So government will also be able to provide social services and to build those roads without going to borrow. Right now they are borrowing to eat. And as they borrow to eat, they are locking out the people of Kenya from accessing capital. So government get out of that market. Allow the people to access that capital at a low interest rate.
Are you worried about the numbers? Because here people are saying, what numbers are you bringing on board? Because at the end of the day, elections are all about the numbers that you have.
The numbers that you saw on the streets are the numbers we're bringing on board. Those millions of Kenyans saw on the streets on 18th and 25th of June. Those are the numbers. Because it's about them. It's no longer about the leaders. No one cares about parliament. No one cares about William Ruto. In fact, they are cancelled. You are the only one who still seems to be caught up caring about them. Don't waste your energy analyzing William Ruto.
It's not me caring. I'm just looking at the situation.
No,
as it is,
but they are
trying to look at the
cancelled.
possibility
They are
of what
cancelled.
is-
William Ruto was in Western this weekend. Are you even seeing anybody discussing what he said? What did he even say? Did you hear what he said? Have you even met people discussing what he said? So why are you bothering with such a kind of a person? He's cancelled. He's done. He was having a meeting with the university students last evening. What did he even say? All I've seen from that interview is that young man telling him the problems of Kenya are two, and you're one of them. That's all me I remember. And that young man from JKU, the Secretary General from JKU, also telling him almost similar things. That nowadays what we do is before we used to demonstrate in support of you, nowadays we just demonstrate. You just fell short of telling him, you demonstrate your failures. Yeah. So that's all I remember. I don't remember what William Ruto said. I can't even hear. And I've not seen anybody analyzing or discussing it. The closest I've seen of him being discussed is how he lied that he paid hell. He got help in 1987. Yeah? When you know everywhere help was not there in 1987. He could have called it by its actual name, but he was lying. The truth is he was lying. Only that he was caught up in his lies. I don't know what he says. You're the only one who cares about him. Kenyans have moved on. Kenyans are woke, man.
Why are you saying that I'm the only one who cares about the president here? I'm not actually, I'm just looking at things as they are and trying to maybe fathom what it is that will actually happen in this country with regards to the politics of the nation. But here we are, Wakili. I wish you all the best. Let's wait and see if at all you people will actually successfully change the kind of narrative that we've had in the past of people voting behind people of their own ethnic origin. Therefore, I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stop this conversation at this particular moment. But if at all you're watching us for the first time, kindly subscribe to this channel here and stay tuned to some of our programs that will be coming up next. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okini.